Alright, picture this. You sit down to play a game for just an hour. Fast forward 100 hours later, your room looks like a disaster zone. Your friends think you've disappeared, and your only real-life skill now is managing an overstuffed inventory. Some games let you finish in a weekend, but not these. These are the games that suck you in, chew up your free time, and spit you out wondering what year it is. So, here are 15 single-player games so massive you might as well forward your mail to their open worlds. You ever wanted to be an outlaw, but without the risk of getting arrested? Red Dead Redemption 2 is basically the ultimate cowboy simulator, where you can rob trains, hunt legendary animals, grow a gnarly beard, and accidentally greet a guy instead of robbing him, only to have him shoot you in the face. Rockstar didn't just make a game, they made a living, breathing world where even NPCs have better daily routines than most of us. You start as Arthur Morgan, a gruff outlaw with the heart of a poet, if poets also occasionally skin deer and rob banks. And from there, it's 100+ hours of getting distracted by everything except the main story. Oh, you were on your way to a mission? Nope, now you're chasing a drunk guy who stole your hat. Trying to complete a quest? Too bad. You just got sidetracked by a random dude who needs help fixing his horse, only for it to kick him into next week. And let's not forget the true enemy of this game. Stamina depletion while running in town, making Arthur wheeze like a 90-year-old after 3 steps. The story alone is a gut-wrenching ride, but between fishing, bounty hunting, playing poker, and accidentally antagonizing townsfolk into a full-blown shootout, 100 hours will fly by faster than a stagecoach on a downhill slope with no brakes. Ever wanted to spend 100+ hours cooking questionable meals, climbing every surface like a maniac, and getting absolutely obliterated by a moblin with a stick? Well, congratulations, Breath of the Wild is the perfect game for you. This isn't just an open-world adventure, it's a playground of chaos, where the laws of physics exist solely to be disrespected. Want to use a metal sword during a thunderstorm? Boom, you're now a lightning rod. Thought you'd be smart and chop down a tree to use as a bridge? Whoops. It's rolling away faster than your will to finish the main quest. And let's talk about those Korok seeds. 900 of those little dudes hiding in the most absurd places. Oh, you found one under a rock? Cute. Now find the other 899 before you die of old age. And don't even get me started on stamina management. Nothing makes you question your life choices more than climbing a cliff for 5 minutes, only to run out of stamina an inch from the top and plummet to your doom. With so many shrines, side quests, ridiculous enemy encounters, and that one moment when you realize you can literally yeet bokoblins off cliffs with bomb arrows, Breath of the Wild is a game you never really finish. You just eventually accept that Hyrule is now your home. If you ever thought, hey, I wish The Walking Dead had more motorcycles and a protagonist who looks like he just walked out of a beard oil commercial, then Days Gone is your game. You play as Deacon St. John, a biker trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic world where zombie hordes move like an angry swarm of bees, but the bees are all on steroids and actively hate you. The world is massive, filled with abandoned towns, creepy forests, and more bandits than a poorly planned bank robbery. At first you think, okay, these zombies aren't so bad, but then, bam! You turn a corner and see 500 of them sprinting at you like they just heard about an all-you-can-eat human buffet. And that's when you realize, running is always the right choice. The best part? Your motorcycle isn't just for show, it's your lifeline. Run out of gas? You're walking, buddy. Crash it? Good luck pushing it uphill. And don't even think about ignoring repairs unless you want to experience the true horror of being stranded in the middle of nowhere while an entire undead football team chases you. Between the emotional storyline, intense combat, and hours spent upgrading your bike so it doesn't handle like a brick on roller skates, Days Gone is the kind of game where 100 hours isn't just an option, it's inevitable.
Time to go! We got one shot at this, brother!
Damn it, Rooster. Go. Get your old lady.
If you thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was big, buckle up because Rebirth is here to obliterate your free time. This game doesn't just give you a massive world to explore, it dares you to do everything. You could be advancing the epic storyline, uncovering deep character backstories, or more realistically, spending 20 hours trying to master a minigame you found in some random town. Ever wanted to ignore the fate of the world so you can go chocobo racing? Because Rebirth lets you. The combat is spectacular, but let's be real. Half the time, you'll be too busy admiring Cloud's ridiculously perfect hair to focus on dodging that boss attack. And materia management? Oh boy, prepare to stare at menus for eternity as you try to find the perfect loadout, only to immediately regret your choices and start over. The open world exploration is so vast that you'll forget what the main story even is, especially when you find yourself on a 10-hour detour collecting weirdly specific items for an NPC you'll never see again. And then, just when you think you're done, you realize there are multiple endings, hidden bosses, and enough side quests to turn this into a full-time job. If you're not spending 100 plus hours in this game, you're probably playing it wrong.
Need a light? You're done. Not bad.
Imagine Dark Souls, but instead of corridors and tight spaces, everything is trying to kill you across a vast, beautiful open world where you can go anywhere and immediately regret it. That's Elden Ring. This game doesn't just test your patience, it laughs in your face while throwing a dragon at you when all you have is a stick and bad decisions. From Software decided that NPCs should be just as cryptic as the lore, so expect to have entire quest lines go straight over your head unless you accidentally stumble into the right cave at 2 a.m. The world is full of secrets, but finding them means constantly dying to enemies who look like they just crawled out of a horror movie written by a lunatic. Oh, and horseback combat? It's all fun and games until you get blindsided by a tree sentinel who hits like a truck full of bricks. The real joy of Elden Ring comes from the sheer stubbornness of refusing to give up. You will lose to the same boss dozens of times, but when you finally win, pure euphoria. Add in multiple endings, absurdly detailed lore, and dungeons hidden so well they might as well be in another dimension, and 100 hours will feel like you've barely scratched the surface. If you somehow make it through without breaking at least one controller, congratulations, you're built different. Grand Theft Auto 5, the game where you start with the best of intentions and end up in a police chase within 5 minutes. Rockstar didn't just make a crime simulator, they made a chaos engine where even trying to drive normally somehow leads to flipping your car, mowing down pedestrians, and setting off an explosion that takes out half the city. The game lets you switch between Michael, a retired bank robber with a midlife crisis, Franklin, a guy just trying to make a decent living but constantly getting roped into nonsense, and Trevor, who is basically Florida Man given sentience. The main story is already a masterpiece, but let's be honest, who actually plays GTA for the story anymore? 1 minute you're robbing a bank, the next you're spending 20 hours perfecting your golf swing or getting absolutely demolished in the stock market because you took investment advice from some random NPC. And then there's the real game, finding the most ridiculous ways to get a 5-star wanted level and survive. Maybe it's skydiving onto a moving train, maybe it's launching your car off Mount Chiliad, maybe it's trying to enter the military base like you own the place. Spoiler, you don't. With hidden secrets, absurd side missions, and an online mode that turns the entire city into an unhinged battle royale, 100 hours in GTA 5 is just the tutorial. Welcome to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where you can spend hundreds of hours pillaging villages, upgrading your settlement, and yeeting people off cliffs in the name of Odin. You play as Eivor, a Viking warrior with a sword in one hand and a to-do list longer than the Norse sagas. Ubisoft really outdid themselves with the sheer amount of stuff to do. Raids, exploration, drinking games, dice games, one-on-one brawls with drunk dudes who insult your poetry. And let's not forget the map, which is so massive that you'll probably spend 50 hours just unlocking all the fast travel points. At first you think, I'll just do a couple of quests and then focus on the main story, but before you know it, you've spent an entire weekend hunting legendary animals, finding cursed artifacts, and collecting every single piece of armor like an obsessive Viking hoarder. The combat is brutal and satisfying. Nothing says historical accuracy like launching an enemy 30 feet with a single axe swing. And when you finally think you're done, surprise, more DLC, more mythological nonsense, more things to stab. If you somehow don't hit 100 hours in Valhalla, you either speedran it or lost your axe in a drinking contest.
Damn shadow.
You know that one game where the laws of physics just give up? That's Just Cause 3. This game doesn't care about realism, strategy, or logic. It only cares about explosions, grappling hooks, and more explosions. You play as Rico Rodriguez, a man whose only life goal is to overthrow dictators using a combination of reckless stunts and absolute destruction. The story? Yeah, sure, there's one somewhere in there. But let's be honest. The real fun is in using your grappling hook to attach enemies to moving cars, launching them into the sky, and watching the chaos unfold. This is the only game where your main form of travel is an infinite parachute plus wingsuit combo that makes airplanes feel obsolete. And then there are the gadgets. Explosive tethers, remote detonations, rocket launchers that fire even more rockets. Because subtlety is for cowards. If you ever get bored, which is impossible, just pick a military base and try to blow up every single thing in sight. Vehicles, fuel tanks, random towers, your own self-respect, whatever works. The best part? The game rewards you for this nonsense. With a map so big you'll lose track of your objectives and physics so broken they actually improve the experience. 100 hours in Just Cause 3 is just the warm-up. Far Cry 6 isn't just a game, it's a 100-hour tropical vacation where everything wants to kill you. Welcome to Yara, a beautiful island paradise ruled by a dictator with a suspiciously smooth voice and an even more suspicious ability to always be one step ahead. You play as Dani Rojas, a guerrilla fighter who starts off just wanting to escape, but somehow ends up overthrowing an entire government. The game gives you every possible tool of destruction. Guns, rocket launchers, backpacks that shoot actual missiles, and even a pet crocodile named Guapo, who is more reliable than most human allies. The side quests are so ridiculous that you'll forget what you were doing in the main story. 1 minute, you're taking down an enemy base, the next, you're collecting ingredients for an old man's secret chicken fighting ring. And let's not forget the vehicles, tanks, horses, cars, even a jetpack-like contraption that will 100% get you killed in the dumbest way possible. Every mission is an invitation to cause maximum chaos. Stealth is an option, but why sneak when you have a flamethrower? By the time you reach the credits, you'll have spent at least 100 hours blowing things up, getting distracted by insanely good side quests and wondering why you're suddenly emotionally attached to a rooster wearing battle armor.
Someone's out there.
Hideo Kojima looked at every action-packed open-world game and said, "Nah, let's make a game where walking is the hardest part." Welcome to Death Stranding, the only game where delivering packages feels more intense than actual combat. You play as Sam Porter Bridges, a man with a backpack so big it would break the spine of a lesser human. Your job? Carry boxes across the entire country without falling on your face, which, by the way, will happen constantly. Every hill is a boss fight, every river crossing feels like an Olympic event, and don't even get me started on the BTs, those creepy invisible ghosts who exist just to ruin your day. But the true beauty of Death Stranding is that it somehow makes carrying boxes emotionally rewarding. You'll start out laughing at the absurdity of it all, but by hour 50, you'll be fully invested in delivering that one last package to an NPC who only ever grunts at you. And then there's the online element, where players leave ladders and bridges for each other, creating a weird unspoken bond over the struggle of simply walking in a straight line. Between cutscenes that last longer than actual movies, weird Kojima-style storytelling, and the deep existential crisis that comes with tripping over a rock, 100 hours in Death Stranding will feel like a fever dream you never want to wake up from.
Where you at, Sammy boy?
Starfield, the game that promised to take Bethesda's explore everything formula and launch it into outer freaking space. And guess what? They actually did it. This is a game where you can spend 100 plus hours doing everything except the main story. 1 minute, you're mining space rocks like an intergalactic handyman. The next, you're accidentally committing space crimes because you thought that ship was abandoned. Spoiler, it wasn't. Bethesda basically said, what if Skyrim, but infinite planets? And then just handed us a spaceship and said, figure it out. Every planet is either a gold mine of resources or a barren wasteland where your only company is existential dread. You can join space pirates, become a space cop, or just ignore all of that and spend 50 hours building the perfect spaceship that you will immediately crash into an asteroid. And let's not forget the dialogue options, because nothing says immersive space adventure like convincing an alien overlord to let you live by just choosing the right sentence. If you somehow run out of things to do, impossible, just remember, there are mods, and someone has probably already replaced every spaceship with Thomas the Tank Engine.
The enemy has dropped out of our view.
Get out! I got you! Great.
The enemy is
If you've ever played an RPG and thought, wow, this is fun, but what if it was 10 times harder and I was a peasant who can't even read? Then congratulations, Kingdom Come. Deliverance is the brutally realistic medieval life simulator of your dreams, or nightmares. You play as Henry, a blacksmith's son who starts with 0 skills, 0 experience, and 0 chance of survival. Basically a medieval intern with a sword. Unlike other RPGs where you're a god from the start, here you'll struggle to even swing a sword correctly without embarrassing yourself. You want to learn how to fight? Hope you enjoy getting smacked around by knights until you accidentally figure it out. Want to ride a horse? Good luck not falling off. Need to read a book? First, you have to learn to read because Henry is illiterate. This is a game that doesn't hold your hand. It throws you into the mud, kicks you a few times, and then says, all right, now figure out how to survive. But once you get past the painful learning curve, the game becomes insanely immersive, with some of the most realistic combat, intense political drama, and a world that actually reacts to your terrible decisions. If you're looking for a 100+ hour RPG where every victory feels truly earned, this is the game for you.
I'm going to enjoy this. Fuck! I'll have you.
What started as the most overhyped disappointment of all time somehow became one of the most incredible space exploration games ever made. When No Man's Sky launched, players expected infinite possibilities and instead got infinite sadness. But years of updates later, the game is now everything it was meant to be, and then some. This is a universe where you can land on a planet, name it something dumb, steal its resources, and leave like a true space colonizer. The sheer scale of the game is so ridiculous that you could play for 100 hours and still only explore 0.00001% of the galaxy. And let's talk about space travel, because what's better than taking off into the stars, getting immediately attacked by space pirates, and panicking while all your cargo burns up? The best part? There is no real goal. You can become a trader, a pirate, a scientist, or just that weird dude who spends hours taming alien creatures and giving them terrible names. You'll build massive bases, farm insane amounts of resources, and probably get lost in deep space while trying to figure out what the heck antimatter even does. With constant updates adding new planets, new ships, and new ways to make bad decisions, No Man's Sky is the endless space adventure we all wanted in the first place. If you thought Horizon Zero Dawn was big, beautiful, and full of mechanical dinosaurs just waiting to ruin your day, then Horizon Forbidden West basically cranked everything up to 11. Aloy is back, and this time she's venturing into an even more massive open world, filled with stunning landscapes, terrifying new machines, and side quests that are somehow more interesting than the main story. You'll spend 100 plus hours hunting robot animals, crafting insane gear, and constantly asking yourself, wait, why did I come to this part of the map again? The combat is a perfect blend of strategy and panic, where you have to carefully dismantle machines piece by piece, or just panic, fire 100 arrows in random directions and hope something explodes. The traversal is even better this time, with a grappling hook, underwater exploration, and flying mounts, meaning you can now run away from battles in even more creative ways. And let's not forget the side characters, who are so well written that you'll end up emotionally invested in the problems of random NPCs who you just met 5 minutes ago. By the time you finish the main story, you'll still have dozens of unfinished side quests, legendary gear to hunt, and more robots to take down, because in Horizon Forbidden West, there's always another mechanical monster waiting to ruin your day. The only game where you start off searching for your adopted daughter but somehow end up playing card games for 50 hours instead. The Witcher 3 isn't just a game, it's an entire second life. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter who looks like he hasn't slept in years and spends half the game reluctantly doing favors for random strangers. The world is massive, and every side quest feels like a fully fleshed out story that could be its own RPG. You'll spend hours tracking down legendary monsters, getting involved in royal drama, and making bad decisions that will 100% come back to haunt you. The combat is brutal but satisfying, requiring you to actually prepare for fights instead of just swinging your sword like a lunatic. And then there's Gwent, the in-game card game that somehow became more addictive than the main story itself. 1 minute you're saving the world, the next you're traveling across the land just to beat random merchants in a card tournament. And don't even get me started on the DLCs, which are basically entire extra games disguised as expansions. With deep RPG mechanics, some of the best writing in gaming history, and a world that's so immersive you'll forget you have a real life, The Witcher 3 is not just a 100-hour game, it's a game you'll never stop coming back to.
Now! You die tonight! You will die here now!
All right, if you made it this far, congrats. You now have enough games to keep you busy until the next century. So, what's the longest you've ever spent in a single game? Let me know in the comments, unless you're still stuck playing one of these and don't have time to reply. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you never miss out on more gaming insanity. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go finish at least one of these games. Maybe someday.